Hey everyone, Reid Henrichs with Henrichs, and today what we're going to talk about is muzzle up or muzzle down with your pistol. A lot of people debate this, and I really don't understand why. I don't understand why it's debated. That's like debating which key should you use to unlock a specific door in your house. I mean, obviously there are certain keys that work on certain doors and other way around. So really what we're going to talk about is both, some pros and cons of both. So let's get started. So let's start with muzzle up. Now there's a couple different ways that you can do this. I'm just going to expose you to the information. I'm not going to critique, which one you should use. A couple different types of muzzle up. The first type, of course, is what's known as temple index. When people say that in class, like, hey, what do you think about temple index? I mean, oh, you mean up? Okay, you could do it like this. That's one way to do it. What you could also do is known as a high ready or high compress ready, which is also just like this. I like this way a lot because I can still see straight through it. That's why we have two eyes. I can still see straight through it, and I've also got a good grip on my pistol, as you can see. And it really doesn't change. If I needed to turn and shoot, I really keep the same grip that I have in my pistol. This is also a good thing when you consider that you don't have to adjust your grip if you needed to turn and shoot your gun. Another reason I like this is because this is great for moving around crowds. If you need to move around or if you need to move through an area, your muzzle's in a good direction. You're not flagging people's legs. This is a great position for movement around a large amount of people, like in public. Another reason I like the muzzle up position is because if you all have children, if you all have kids, the first place that they go when they get scared is right down into your legs. Muzzle up here, once again, provides you a good position for that muzzle if your kids decide to suck themselves to your leg or to your torso region as they do when they get scared. And the last reason I really like this position is because, believe it or not, and I swear I've tested this out thousands of times on people, I'll say, man, if you keep your muzzle up, your head will end up being up as well. So if like I'm, got a bad guy running around, I got to reload my pistol and I'm looking around, I got to be able to see where that bad guy is. When our muzzle tends to be up, our head tends to stay up. I know there's some muzzle down guys out there saying, no, I always keep my head up and my muzzle's down, and then they do this. Damn. Right, so we've got to think about this, guys, and training your muzzle up for a lot of those situations. There are some drawbacks to muzzle up, so let's cover those. Okay, if you're going to be moving in that muzzle up position, if you ever in law enforcement and you're stacked up outside of a building with other officers, what that can do is lengthen that stack, because it does require a little bit of standoff distance away from your body to do that, so it will lengthen the stack slightly. Another reason that muzzle up may not be the best position for you, if you're clearing corners in your house with that pistol, it's not the best position as well to go around corners and work around corners like that. So indoors, unless it's like in your house or a confined space like your house, your apartment, confined spaces like that, it may not be the best position for you. The next position we're going to talk about is that muzzle down position, and there's many different variations of it. I'm going to show you one of the more popular ones that is in vogue right now. It's known as Sul. It's Portuguese for south, which means muzzle down. Why don't you just call it muzzle down, man? Okay, so what it looks like is this. If we're in the muzzle down, what you're there is like this. And if you can see my hands, you can see how they're together just like this in front of my body. Now, one thing I want you to consider is that look at my grip right now. If I had to present the pistol, I would have to reacquire my grip if I wanted to shoot that pistol two hands. This is a good thing, however, when you are stacked up and with people, especially you law enforcement guys, if you're about to make entry into a house, all you got your pistol. What this is good for is that you can actually get nice and tight on that stack. You can get close to one another like that. Indoors, great position to work around. Great position to move with. It's great around corners. All you got to do is present it, is bring it up like so. So it's great around stuff like that. Great position to work indoors with. I'm a real big fan of moving around in buildings like this, and it's really just a good overall position in many different types of situations. Another good thing about the Sul position is if you need to turn and look, that muzzle goes wherever your head goes as well. If you're turning like this, wherever your head turns, that's where your muzzle turns as well. That's also true with that muzzle up position, but here it's nice and centered up on my body. Another thing I like about this is that your vision is absolutely clear. You notice there's nothing in front of your face, and even though you can see around it muzzle up, this provides a much clearer sight picture. So there are pros and cons to this. There's a couple more drawbacks I'd like to discuss about Sul as well. The first drawback about that stool position is obviously children. I mean, if they're down below you and this is a good position, I mean, yeah, you could move it over or whatnot, but now you've got other stuff to think about in the moment where you're going to need to use your pistol. So this is one thing to consider, those of you that have children. Other thing you need to consider as well is that when you're moving around teammates, especially law enforcement guys, if you're moving around teammates, you can flag legs pretty easily like this, okay? It's very easy to do that in this direction. I want you to think about this also. If we're moving around inside structures and we're hunting down bad guys, you know, there's active shooter going on, new police officers out there are going out looking for the enemy. If you think about this and you're down like this, what this opens you up to is a rear bear hug from behind. And if somebody pins your arms like this with your pistol this close to your body, it is very tough to get that gun out again. You'd have to get real creative to get out of this one. That's another bad drawback to this, a potential negative in this stool position. And last but not least, I touched on it a little earlier with your head. When people's muzzles are down like this, they tend to want to look at their muzzle for some reason. It's kind of like, you know, a tennis ball with a cat or a dog. Like wherever you move it, that's where the head goes. So, you know, wherever your muzzle is like that is what typically happens. And I tell people in class all the time, I don't care which one you use, just pick one. But understand that if your head goes down, this is not a good position, because when I'm looking down here, I'm not looking out at potential dangers or other pieces of cover that I could run to. So to wrap up the muzzle up or muzzle down thing, it's really not a debate. I want you to practice both. I want you to present multiple different positions for the pistol, because one isn't going to work in every circumstance. This muzzle up's not going to work all the time. Muzzle down's not going to work all the time. Practice both. Practice presenting the pistol from both positions. That way, if you're ever in a situation where you have to use one or the other, it's not a stranger to you. I guess people at this time are saying, well, Reid, what could I practice? Well, just a kind of a general template here. If you're in a helicopter, go muzzle down. If you're in a rubber raft, go muzzle up, and I think you can take it from there. I hope you found the information in the video helpful, and if you did, subscribe to the channel and follow me on Facebook. That link is down below. And if you want to get some training on your pistol, come on out to Valor Ridge and we can teach you to do just about anything you'd want to do with it. This is Reid Henrichs with Valor Ridge reminding you, the lessons that we learn are written on the tombstones of others. We'll see you on the ridge.